So I have both tangible and non-tangible products that I sell now, but it didn't always used to be that way. That actually came from me falling on my face the first time. I started out in cosmetology school and went into finance after that. I know, completely two ends of the spectrum, but I really wanted to go into cosmetology school, and my dad really pushed me into finance and accounting, and I hated it.
I feel like I'm going like really fast on this.
So let me slow it down.
Where do I start?
I always get asked, how either did you start your business or how do I create a product service to sell and start something for myself online? And so I thought I would
Roll it back a little bit
and tell you how I got started. I'm Blogging Brandy, and this is BLABoss, where I teach you all about how to build a business and brand it like a boss. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this story as short as possible. How did Brandy get started with this whole online entrepreneurship thing? How did I end up quitting my job, my 6-figure job, and starting my own business? That's what this video is about. I don't really know how exciting the story can be, but maybe it will inspire you to get started and create something for yourself. Where did I start? I guess that's a good place to start. Way back in the day. I actually used to have a job. I started out in high school doing cosmetology. That is like cutting hair and doing faces and makeup and pretty stuff. So I went to college for beauty, did that while I was in high school. I started doing my own business kind of back then. I went from working in a salon to starting my own tanning business, like spray tanning business. But I used to have the whole entrepreneur spirit in me.
back in the day.
There it is. Vogue Beauty School, right there. Right there. Down this country road. That's where I went to school. And that was when I was 16 to probably 18 when I got my license, finally. I got my license right out of high school.
So I came out of high school already at the top.
Already at the top. While I was cutting hair, people kept saying,
No, you should go back and get a real career. Like, go to college. I was thinking, what is not a real career about cutting hair?
I took everyone else's advice over and over and over. Went back to school for accounting. I hated it. Switched my major to finance, and I got all of these licenses. I did 4 years in college. I got a Series 7, a 66. I know you're probably like, what is that? It has to do with finance. One has to do with trading stocks, and I got insurance licenses that I honestly don't use anymore. I did get
A ballin' ass job
at one of the
Biggest
financial institutions in
the world.
Finally, there was just this thing inside of me that said, I hate my job, this is not fun. And then one day I just typed up an email and I said,
I quit.
so it wasn't that simple. What really happened? Let me think back. Maybe it was just timing. I don't know. My boyfriend at the time, who's still my boyfriend now.
But, still my boyfriend now.
He went to school just like me. He got a degree and all that fun stuff. At some point we like met.
He was an entrepreneur and I always had that inside of me. And then
That, I guess, kind of rubbed off on me, and I wanted to start my own business. And so we started talking, and I kept seeing him.
Oh, I met my friends and we're at the bar.
And it was like 10 a.m. on like a Wednesday or something. And I was thinking, well,
what is he doing that I'm not doing?
I said, well, I really can't figure out how he's getting by with making all this money and not working during the day or taking off half the day. And I'm working this job 9 to 5. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. and hurrying to get ready and take showers, and he's laying in the bed till 11 a.m. going to lunch. And then when I get off work, he's like,
Hey, what's up? I just, started work.
we worked completely different schedules.
And you really didn't work much.
It's just crazy what happened. But either way, I was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. I think he gave me the idea, so I started doing this e-liquid business, which turned out to be really bad.
A bad idea.
So when you talk about business mistakes, bad idea.
Why was it a bad idea?
Well, I sold e-liquid, which is like the stuff that you put in the pens to smoke. And I didn't think about the fact that it might be regulated. So when I tried to put out ads against it, I couldn't put out ads against it on like Google or YouTube or create content, because I don't know if you know, but things like cigarettes and smoking cessation products can't be advertised. Even though it's a little bit more lenient now, it is really banned, okay? So when you have to check that box about is it 18 and up or adult, yeah, you're considered just like the XXX stuff.
I learned a lot. Moving on.
And then I started seeing all this stuff come out about the health. I felt really guilty selling this product, but it taught me a lot because I learned how to build my own website like 3 times. I spent an entire Christmas building a website that I could have had done in like 1 day. Learned how to source products from China, you know, I learned how to sell a product, I learned how to liquidate a product as well. So when your product fails, that's what happens, you liquidate it. So that was probably one of my biggest fails. So I pulled the plug on it and I said, hey, morally, I just really don't want to sell this product. If I can't advertise it, that kind of like made me feel guilty, and I quit selling it. Now, people probably think is like, okay, well, then obviously you aren't successful. But one thing I'm really good at is selling other people's products and services. I stumbled upon this magical idea about selling other people's products and services. So I got started on Amazon and eBay after that, just scanning random things at Walmart and Goodwill and Target, and then I found on clearance and that people gave me for Christmas, and anything that was new I would scan. Or I wholesale from manufacturers, or it can be salvaged goods. I've done return pallets, auctions, all kinds of ways. So I'm not kidding when you can probably see this basket of stuff. I created this business called eBay Exchange, and my camera's like crooked. I created this business called eBay Exchange, which is still in existence today. It's been restructured
A couple of times.
You can follow it. I'll put links to it down below. If you think about it, Amazon and eBay, eBay, yeah, eBay Exchange, and that's how I make money. So a lot of people ask me, how did you create a product or service to sell? Well, I did create one. It wasn't successful. The first one I created was not successful. I did sell them, but it wasn't this huge thing, and it was honestly not a huge thing because I personally decided to pull the plug on it. Created eBay Exchange. I had no website, no social media, no email. Started selling on Amazon, started selling on eBay, and things just took off. And I was making so much money that led me to finally quit my job. And I didn't just quit. Like, I planned my exit. I knew I was getting a bonus. I had to stay X amount of days to keep my bonus, and I had been at the company for a while. But finally, I just kind of got fed up, and it was like that thing where you go into work and you just hate being there.
And that's why I finally quit. And
To whom it may concern, please accept this letter as notification that I am resigning. I apologize for not being able to provide 2 weeks' notice. However, I regret that, due to circumstances beyond my control, I need to resign immediately. Please forward my last paycheck to my home address. Thank you. I hated corporate America, and I really wanted to work for myself and do my own thing. That's how I got started, selling a product or service. Then that's what led me to kind of what they call reselling instead of, I had went straight into private selling, and that's why I say maybe you should back up and learn how to sell other people's products. You don't have to just sell products, you can also sell services. That's another side of my business that I quickly learned about. Was I started learning how to automate the process and what it took to run a business and why I needed a website and social media and email. And it kind of came from that I started BLABoss, or BLABoss as some people call it, because I think that sounds pretty fancy, but it stands for Brand Like a Boss, which is this channel. I wanted to teach people about the business side of my business, about how I actually run my business. So on the BLABoss side, I sell not just a book, which is tangible, it's also services. So I have people that have hired me to create videos for them and websites and set up their email marketing and create social media strategies and graphics and schedule it for them and show them how to do this. And I've created courses on that because, for those of you that don't know, I have a whole nother YouTube channel. I started out as Blogging Brandy, and I was blogging about like a whole bunch of stuff.
All right, and action!
Hey everybody, this is Blogging Brandy. I've been going to Vegas for over 2 decades. about some of the fun stuff that I find in Vegas, because I get a ton of questions about how do you not spend so much money and where are the fun places to go. Hey, it's Brandy of blogandbrandy.com, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to create a YouTube channel on your phone. 80% of internet users have a mobile device, which means that they're using their smartphone whenever they're visiting your stores, reading your content, deciding whether they want to buy a product or service. And with so many cell phone carriers giving away cell phones, that means that the number's only going to be increasing, which is great news if your company already has a mobile marketing strategy. And then I kind of like found my niche, figured out that I need to restructure my business and my brand, and it turned into 3 businesses. I have my travel vlog, which is Arversity. If any of you follow RVing or my travel vlog, you probably saw me launch that last summer. Then I launched my business and branding website, which is BLABoss, or BLABoss, brand like a boss. And then I have eBay Exchange, which is what I was telling you, my reselling business where I sell products. I hope that explains how I created my first product and how it failed, and then what I did to kind of compensate for that and what has turned into eBay Exchange and BLABoss and Blog and Brandy. Now you know how I created my product or service and how you can get started creating maybe something of your own. So the next thing that you're gonna need is to put it all together and put it yourself out there. And how do you do that? Well, you have to have a profile online, which would be some type of website, and then you want to market yourself with email and social media. But don't you worry, put it all into a great little checklist down below this video that you can get. So if you're trying to start a business of your own, you probably want to check out my checklist, because I've shown you how to pretty much do it fast, cheap, easy, and sometimes free. Free is not always the best option. So like I said, one time I spent a month doing something that could have taken me probably less than $50 in less than 24 hours. I'm Blog and Brandy. This is BLABoss, brand like a boss. Thanks for watching. Until the next video next week, I'll see you. But essentially, I always do that. I always say essentially. Let's try to get through this. I only do this recording stuff once a month, just so you know. So this pretty little face, I put it together, and I record these videos 4 at a time, and then boom, 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 they come out once a week, and boom, you just have a brand, and that's how I create a marketing strategy. Like, still my boyfriend, no. Had his he went to school. What did he do? He went to school. Duh. So we'll probably cut half that out, but that's where we're at on